I believe that everything should be on the table. And to most responsibly represent our state and our country, I believe that means everything. That means revenues in the form of taxes. I think if somebody came to me and said, we could lower our spending by 8%, but to get this plan in gear, we would actually have to raise revenues, raise taxes 2%. If we did so by making the tax code flatter, more predictable, and much more business friendly, I think that would accomplish all of those goals at once. And yes, I would vote for such a plan to make sure that we were back on the right track.
The most important thing that Congress can do is to do no harm in the short term and to pass a deficit reduction plan in the long term that approaches $4 trillion in deficit reduction. There's a plan out there. The president established a budget deficit commission. They put together a plan. It's referred to as the Simpson-Bowles plan. It's balanced, it's fair, it's comprehensive. It includes additional revenues. It includes substantial spending cuts. It also addresses entitlement programs. That's the kind of approach that we have to take. The reality of it is, education is about a good, strong teacher in front of a classroom that's disciplined, where she has the abilities to address and get across to every single student. All this other entrapments around this is just extra. Now, the federal role, it's a more limited role, is to provide additional resources, mostly for disadvantaged kids. I keep talking about this fiscal plan that we need. One of the things that we have to fight for in terms of investments is investments in education, both at the elementary, secondary, and higher education level.
That's because the top-down approach from the federal government is largely unsuccessful. What we need to do is transfer control from this federal government to the local control. What programs haven't we tried in Delaware that hasn't worked? How about local rule, local control? We've had successful charter schools that have had that local control. Why don't we take that program and give the authority to our principals to allocate their resources within this state so that they can, in their individual school, make the decisions that are best serving those students. The ACA is predicted to cost about $2.4 trillion. If the federal government wanted to insure 24 million uninsured people for 6 years, which is the plan under the ACA, at a cost, say about $5,000 per person, it ends up costing $900 billion. This plan, on the other hand, costs $2.4 trillion. I want to know where the other $1.5 trillion of taxpayer money is going to provide this insurance for people. I don't believe we need insurance for everyone in order to provide accessibility to health care. What we need to do, again, is help reform the system.
We spend twice as much as the average of any country around the world, and we don't get near the results. They can't be that smart, and we can't be that dumb. So we got to figure out what works. We've got to implement those things and bring down the cost. Affordable Care Act's the only thing, the only chance that we have. People like the fact that pre-existing condition is gone. They like that kids can stay on their parents' insurance until they're 26. They like the fact that there's no lifetime caps. But guess what?
Let's open it to
You got to have a
discussion.
system that makes it work.